Summary of Becoming by Michelle Obama. Michelle Obama, whose real name is Michelle Robinson, grew up on the south side of Chicago, a neighborhood where white and wealthy families were leaving one by one. Michelle's family consists of her mother, father, and older brother, Craig. They are a close-knit middle-class family that lives in a small apartment with Michelle's great-aunt Robbie and great-uncle Terry. Even though Michelle's family isn't very wealthy, she has a happy childhood. This is mostly because her family and the adults around her make sacrifices and work hard for her. She works hard to get a good education. Robbie teaches her piano, and her mother teaches her to read early on. Michelle's childhood does not go smoothly or without problems, though. She realizes that she has only ever played on a piano with broken keys when she goes to a recital. Her father has multiple sclerosis, and even though he says he feels fine, his body is slowly getting worse. And once, Michelle and her family went to see friends in a mostly white neighborhood. When they got back to their car, someone had cut a deep hole in it with a key. Still, Michelle doesn't let these challenges get her down. She works hard in school, and even though a guidance counselor has doubts, she gets into Princeton, following her brother. She finds friends and mentors at the Third World Center at Princeton, which is a student center for students from underrepresented groups. This helps her feel more at home in a place she calls extremely white and very male. One of these friends is Susanna Leal, who is very different from Michelle because she puts fun over making smart decisions. Michelle gets her sociology degree from magna cum laude, but she doesn't stop to think about what really drives her. Instead, she jumps right into Harvard Law School, knowing that it will give her some confirmation and certainty about what her future might look like. She moves back to Chicago after law school to work for Sidley and Austin. Michelle has been working at Sidley for a year when she agrees to help a new summer associate. She is given Barack Obama, an African-American man who is 3 years older than her and already has a reputation as a great law student, after finishing only his first year at Harvard. She and Barack become friends quickly, and she notices that he is very optimistic, works hard, and is also very humble. She is also interested in how he seems to care more about people's potential for mobility than about his own money. Just before Barack goes back to Harvard, they start dating. In the next 2 years, while Barack finishes law school, Michelle starts to feel unhappy at work because she knows it's not what she really wants to do. Michelle also loses 2 people, her friend Suzanne, who died of cancer, and her father. Her father has a heart attack and dies right after he finally agrees to go to the doctor. Michelle is very sad. These losses make her realize that life is short and that she can't waste any more time at a job she doesn't like. Michelle quits her job at Sidley and Austin to start a string of jobs. She gets a job at City Hall first. She isn't sure about politics, but she's excited about the chance to make people's lives better. While this is going on, Barack finishes law school and moves back to Chicago. He asks Michelle to marry him on the day he takes the bar exam, and she says yes. Michelle and Barack got married in the summer of 1992 and went to Northern California for their honeymoon. When they get back, Bill Clinton is elected president, and Carol Moseley Braun wins her race to be the first African-American woman to serve in the U.S. Senate. Barack missed a deadline for a book manuscript, so he decides to spend 6 months in a cabin in Indonesia working on it while Michelle stays in Chicago. Michelle and Barack go through a lot of changes. She gets a job at a company called Public Allies, which hires young people and puts them to work in nonprofits in the hopes that they will stay in that field. Barack gets a job in the Illinois Senate, and his mother, dies. Michelle then gets a job as an associate dean at the University of Chicago. There, she works on community relations. Michelle is very interested in the health benefits of this job because she and Barack are trying to get pregnant but aren't having any luck. Michelle and Barack decide to try in vitro fertilization after months of failed attempts and a miscarriage. In 1998, their daughter Malia is born through this method. Michelle has trouble fitting being a mom and having a part-time job into her schedule. Barack also has to make some sacrifices as a parent. While they are on vacation in Hawaii, Malia gets sick, and they can't fly home while she is sick. This means that Barack has to miss a vote on a crime bill. He loses a race for Congress because he didn't show up to vote. Barack and Michelle have their second daughter, Sasha, in 2001. Michelle isn't sure if she wants to go back to work, but she goes on an interview with the University of Chicago Medical Center, again doing community outreach, and brings Sasha with her, making it clear that she needs a good salary and a flexible schedule. She has a job. Still, Michelle gets annoyed that Barack is gone every Monday through Thursday, even though she can pay for childcare. They go to counseling as a couple and figure out ways to make their schedules work better together. Michelle is happy with her new job. She is looking for ways to improve how the hospital works with the community and how people in the community get treatment and health care. On the other hand, Barack decides to run for U.S. Senate. He gets a few breaks along the way. The Democratic frontrunner and the Republican nominee are both involved in scandals, and John Kerry, the Republican nominee for president, chooses Barack Obama to be the keynote speaker at the 2004 Democratic National Convention. He gives a 17-minute speech that gets people excited and shows how he is the American dream. He calls for hope, progress, and unity among the American people. He becomes famous right away, and with 70% of the vote, he wins his Senate race. Barack is thinking about running for president after 2 years in the Senate. Michelle is hesitant because she can already see that her own identity is fading as she supports Barack's. However, she agrees because she knows he could help a lot of people. Michelle and Barack get more attention on the campaign trail because of their race. People often say racist things about Barack and Michelle also has to deal with a lot of sexism when people say that, by being so strong, she emasculates Barack. As Barack and Michelle campaign hard in Iowa, Malia's pediatrician tells Michelle that Malia's body mass index is going up. Michelle hires a young man named Sam Cass to cook healthy meals for the family. This makes Michelle more interested in the health and nutrition of children. She and Sam talk about how, if Barack wins, they might plant a garden at the White House and start a program to help kids stay healthy. After months of hard campaigning, Barack wins the Democratic nomination, beating Hillary Clinton, and goes on to beat Republican John McCain in the election for president. This makes a lot of changes in the Obamas' lives happen all at once. They move to Washington, D.C., and live in the White House. They all get their own Secret Service agents and a lot of security, and they enjoy having a full-time staff take care of their needs. Barack and Michelle don't waste any time. Barack is working hard to fix the economy, and Michelle is starting a number of projects in the White House. The first is planting a garden with Sam Cass, which helps get her Let's Move program for kids healthy. She gets big chain restaurants to promise to cut the amount of salt, fat, and sugar in the meals they sell to kids. She also works with schools to make sure kids get healthier lunches and gets Disney and NBC to run public service announcements about the importance of being active during kids' shows. Michelle knows that every choice she makes will be met with some kind of criticism, whether it's from women who think she's giving up her education and career to become a housewife or from people who think she's too involved in politics or just people who care about her clothes. Michelle also knows that people don't think she has the presumed grace of other first ladies because she is the first black first lady. Both Michelle and Barack get a lot done during Barack's 2 terms as president. Barack will be able to get the Affordable Care Act passed, which will be his most important domestic achievement. He starts to get the U.S. out of the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, and this makes it possible for U.S. forces to kill Osama bin Laden. The economy is saved by Barack. Let's Move helps Michelle reach a lot of her goals, and she also works on other projects, like joining forces, which helps military families reach higher, which helps kids get to and stay in college, and Let Girls Learn, which supports girls' education around the world. Still, Barack and Michelle aren't always able to reach all of their goals, and they feel the weight and responsibility of taking care of a country that is hurting. When a gunman kills 20 first graders and 6 teachers at Sandy Hook Elementary School in Connecticut, Barack knows there is no comfort to be had, but he decides to fight for sensible gun control laws. But Congress doesn't do anything, even though gun violence and school shootings are getting worse. As Barack's time in office comes to an end, the next election starts to heat up. Michelle helps campaign for Hillary Clinton, especially because she doesn't like how the Republican nominee, Donald Trump, talks about black people and women. When Donald Trump wins, Michelle is sad and worried that all the progress that has been made in the last 8 years might be lost. Still, even though her family is leaving the White House, she stays positive. She says that no one person can stop all progress. In the end, Michelle says that she is an ordinary person who found herself on an extraordinary journey. She thinks about how much she and the country have changed over the course of her life. Neither she nor the country is perfect, but becoming to her means continuing to grow and owning one's own unique story.
About the author. Michelle Obama was born and raised by her parents and older brother, Craig, on the south side of Chicago. She went on to college and majored in sociology at Princeton University. After college, she went to Harvard Law School. When she graduated, she got a job at Sidley & Austin, which is a corporate law firm in Chicago. At Sidley, she was in charge of mentoring a summer associate named Barack Obama, who worked for Sidley between his first and second years at Harvard Law. After Barack finished law school, they started dating and got married quickly. Michelle then quit her job at Sidley in search of something more fulfilling. She had a series of jobs working with the Southside community, first at City Hall, then at an organization called Public Allies, and then at the University of Chicago Medical Center. In 1998 and 2001, Michelle and Barack had 2 daughters, Malia and Sasha. Barack got involved in politics quickly and went from being an Illinois state senator to a U.S. senator to the 44th President of the United States. From 2008 to 2016, Barack was president, and Michelle and her family moved into the White House with him. During her time as First Lady, Michelle worked on projects like Let's Move, to help kids stay healthy, joining forces to help military families, Let Girls Learn to help girls around the world get an education, and a new White House garden. Michelle and her family live in Washington, D.C. for the time being. Hope we summarized it fully and you liked it. Please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel so that we are motivated to create more videos.